This is Edward Ejim Akwara, aka the 1 Minute Diplomat, making this video from the beautiful scenic city of Abuja, capital city of Nigeria. It is my pleasure to connect with you over the airwaves in this video that I'm making today, which is a series of videos I'm making as a social welfare initiative. Why do I say it's a social welfare initiative? Well, I was living in Minneapolis, St. Paul, precisely in St. Paul in Minnesota many years ago, after my time in the Foreign Service. I wanted to enter a new chapter by going back to school to study law at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln. I had already got my admission and I was getting set, packing my bags to relocate to Lincoln when I had a dream. And in this dream, what I believe was an angelic visitor told me that I should return, to go back to Nigeria, where I can be able to fulfill my destiny in grand style. That if I stayed in the United States of America, yes, I might, in terms of material comfort, have some fun, I might be comfortable, but I wouldn't really be fulfilling God's plan and purpose for me, which is specifically tailored to working within the Nigerian environment. So this dream was so vivid, so lucid, that I had no doubt that it was a message right from the throne of grace. In obedience to this divine instruction, I returned back to Nigeria. I talk a little bit more about that in my book, The 1 Minute Diplomat, which you can get on Amazon and also on seller.co. I talk about my experiences when I go back to Nigeria, both with the security, intelligence, foreign service, you know them now. Group of people. I was arrested, thrown in the slammer, and asked all kinds of questions, which I won't bore you with now. Suffice it to say that with a little helping hand from friends, I was able to reintegrate back into the Nigerian society, trying to earn a living. But most importantly, I started to research to know how best I could be able to fulfill God's purpose for my life in Nigeria. During my research, I discovered that one of the biggest problems we have in Nigeria is that we have humongous resources, but the people are dirt poor. 95% of Nigerians are wallowing in grinding poverty. Not for lack of resources, not for lack of the wherewithal, but because the normal third world syndrome, where a few fat cats corner all the resources and exclude the majority of the people, don't have a responsive, accountable, empathetic leadership. They corner the money for themselves and they couldn't be bothered. So even though we have the resources, we have oil and gas, which everybody knows, there's gold, there's tantalite, there's you name it, gypsum, barite, amethyst, aquamarine, topaz, at least maybe 80, 70 solid minerals and counting. And of course our forests are teeming with herbs and plants that with medicinal uses and all that. So anyway, I discovered that we are like the proverbial man who went around looking for gold all over the world, whereas he had acres of diamonds in his backyard. So I felt that I would dedicate my time to teaching the people on how to think dynamically and powerfully to be able to level up their mentality. The Holy Book says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. So we are paradigm limited. The way the people think, we think like thieves, we think like stooges. In fact, it's downright embarrassing when you see how Nigeria has lost its respect in the Committee of Nations. I was just listening to the news, and the Chief of Defense Staff was refused visa to go to Canada. What insolence, what impudence. The damn High Commissioner of Canada was needed to have been invited to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and given a ticking off. But we have sunk so low and we are jittery that a whole four-star general in Nigeria can be treated like a common private. And that is because the people don't know who they are. So I felt I should try as much as possible to teach freely the people on how they have to think, because your mindset is foundational to whatever results you need and can get. So I have been making these tips basically now to try and see how I can teach the people how to think powerfully and dynamically to help make Nigeria a better place, because the quality of the thinking of the people is what really makes a difference. I've traveled a little bit. Look at Switzerland. What do they have apart from the Alps, from ice on the mountains where people go to skate? But we foolishly carry our money and go and stash it in their banks. And sad to say, the people, sometimes we eliminate these people who carry our money there. There's a very interesting book I read called The Last Plane from Uli, which a former mercenary in Nigeria claimed that one Mr. Gobir, who was a palmsec of defense during the war, was eliminated in Spain because he had stacked so much money that when he went after the war to go and see how he was going to move the money, they eliminated him because he felt that if he did that, that was going to cause some tremors in their financial situation. So I have dedicated my time to try and see how I can help the people to think powerfully and dynamically to be able to level up their game. So I've been doing this period of time because if you think right, you will do right. And if you do right, you will have right.